Hello, I'm Sasha of Sash Makes Cards, and welcome to this month's YouTube Hop for Cherry on Top Crafts. The theme for June's Hop is It's the Little Things, so I am trying out a new card making device. I don't know what you would call it. A new card making tool. That's probably a better way of saying it. I am using hold on, let me get the box, just so I can say the actual name of it. I'm using the Print and Pattern Toolkit from Sizzix and Catherine Pooler Designs. Now, it is an add-on to the Sizzix stencil and stamp tool. And my thinking with this hop was, it's the little things. I'm taking it quite literally, and I am using this tool, which is a patterning tool, it's the little things that make up a pattern. It makes sense in my head. I don't know if it's a good take on this hop. I think it kind of works. Plus, I really wanted to try out the new tool. So that's how I'm doing it. I hope that sounds okay. I hope it makes sense. It makes sense to me, so that's all that matters. But I've got this tool not long ago, and I've been really wanting to test it out. I thought this was perfect. Now, in the beginning, I'm kind of putting it together here and figuring out how exactly it works. Like I said, this tool requires the stencil and stamp, or stamp and stencil tool from Sizzix, which I've never used. As you can see by how nicely what is that? The sticky background on it, the sticky sheet. I've never used this tool. I originally bought oh my gosh, what's the name of the other one? The Sizzix Stamp and Spin, the spinning one. I don't know what that one's called either. I originally bought that, and at the time when I got it, I didn't realize that you needed the stamp and stencil tool to go with it. So sometime later, I then got the stamp and stencil tool, and now that I have both, I just decided to get the print and pattern tool. So now I have all of them, and this is my first time using any of it. But it's a really fun tool to work with. It took some kind of figuring out at first, but I really like it. It makes stenciling so much easier. I didn't quite make a pattern with it. My plan was to make a pattern, but as I was figuring it out, I just decided to go do it pretty haphazardly, which I think still looks pretty fun. Now, this tool uses the base from the Stamp and Stencil tool, where you take off the stamping door, I don't know what you want to call that, on the main tool, and then on the hinges you put on basically an adapter, and then another adapter, which you can then slide on the tools that hold both the stencil and then a stamping platform to use for stamps. I did use mostly the stencil part for this card. I did decide to use the stamping tool at the end just to give it a try, but I really enjoyed how the stencil works. Now, included in this kit is a stamp set and a stencil set, so you can kind of try things out. For this card, I just decided to stick with using those two things. Of course, you could use any stamps and stencils you want. I know Sizzix does also offer stencil adapters, or like a sticky thing you put onto your stencil so you can use it with these tools. So if you do want to make some different kinds of patterns, you can do that as well. For this card, I just decided to use the one circle stencil and use primary colors in Salty Ocean, Candied Apple, and Mustard Seed Distress Oxide, and just create a bunch of circles. Once I was done with the stenciling, I decided to stamp a couple of the stamps on to the card as well. I just stamped these using the Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink. Now, I will say, I don't know if there's an easier way to do the stamping. Whenever I'm stamping, I always use my Misty, so I'm quite used to using that. So when I got to the stamping, I found it to be a little awkward, but that might have just been how I was doing it. Because on this tool anyway, you can't, at least I don't think you can, tilt the stamping platform all the way back to stamp it. So it's kind of just on a 90-degree angle, and I'm putting the ink onto the stamp that way. I'm sure there's probably an easier way to do it. This is just how I did it, so it looks a little awkward, but it did still stamp, and it stamped quite well. Same thing goes for when I stamped the sentiment on later. You will see that I used a sentiment from the Cascading Flowers stamp set from Altenew. It just says hello. I did originally stamp it on the card, but then decided to stamp it onto a strip of cardstock because I like the look of that better. But it was also, you can put the stamping door all the way back so it lays flat, and then you can stamp it. However, it's a lot bigger than the Misty, so to me, I don't have the biggest workspace, so it just felt a little more awkward inking up the stamps. So to do that, I would take the door off the hinges, ink it, and then put it back on and stamp it. Again, that's probably not the best way of doing it, but it's how I did it. So, but I do really like this tool. It stamps really nicely. I love how you can move it around super easily and do the stenciling and the stamping. With these stencils too, there's little holes all the way around the stencil so that you can rotate it easily and make all kinds of different patterns and backgrounds, so I really liked doing that. Now, since I stamped a few of the images from the stamp set onto the card, I decided to also splatter it with some black acrylic paint just to tie everything in a bit better. Usually I use white splatter. Today I mixed it up, used black splatter, but for this I just used a plain black acrylic paint, put some onto my glass matte work surface, sprayed it with some water, and then used a fan brush to splatter it on. After making this card, I definitely think I have a bit of a better idea of how to use this tool, how it works. So I'm thinking next time I pull it out, I'm going to try and make an actual pattern with it. We'll see how that goes. It might just end up looking something like the circle card I just made, which nothing wrong with that. I actually really like how this card turned out. I think it's pretty fun. And again, it was very easy to make with the stencil, because normally if you wanted to do this, you would have to tape down the stencil, ink, pick it up, figure out where to put it, tape it. Whereas with this, you can just push a button, move it around, and then with the sticky sheet behind it as well, it holds it down really well. So next time, I'm definitely going to see if I can make an actual pattern, but if not, I still like it. And that is the finished card project. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the description for a complete list of everybody participating in this hop and to hop along for a chance to win a $25 gift card to shop at a Cherry on Top Crafts. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.